It's 2022. Happy New Year. Welcome to the end of 2022. This is a year that I think didn't feel as big as or as monumental as I will look back on it being, but there really has been a lot that's gone on. I was watching videos this morning, the ones that I made at like the end of the year and the beginning of the year last year, and just that 365-day difference seems so crazy. And it did make me think back to the TikTok trend, which I think I'm going to title this video, If I Could Tell January Me. Because January me knew some stuff was coming, but I had no idea exactly what was coming. So I mean, some big moments that you already know about because you went through them with me. I feel like number one that we have to acknowledge is the fact that I graduated with a master's degree. It's my last week. Today is my last day of class. I'm done. I'm all the way done. I'm 1 degree hotter than I was at this time last year. I finished my Master of Social Work program and I got that degree. I got to put those 3 little letters at the end of my name, a.bea.s, and that is something that definitely punctuates my little journey through life, you know? Coming right around that same time, I traveled internationally for the first time since 2019, for the first time since the whole world had shut down for those couple of years.
3, 2, 1. Arguing again, arguing about something so simple. Make it clear, tell me why you're running back to him.
And even January me didn't know if that would be possible because this time last year, remember, that was when Omicron was going around and everyone was getting sick again, and it was like, I think I was even still wearing a mask at the gym. Like, just 1 year ago, I had no idea if that would be a possibility. But I traveled internationally. I got my first big girl job. It is my first day of a new job and I feel like I'm gonna pee my pants. It went really well, actually. My first job that I think counts as like an actual career that required my master's. It required the credentials that I had. And obviously, as you guys know, it was an adjustment curve for sure because I was getting used to a new place, being an employee, getting to know new coworkers, getting to know new clients. But thankfully, the job itself, like the day-to-day, the duties, all of that, the responsibilities were something that I had been used to because of my internship. And that is something that January me was holding on to the possibility of, but I didn't think that it was going to actually be able to happen. And I was very excited once, I think it was around March is whenever I learned that I could officially pursue that job after graduation. I have another job interview today. This one is in person. I'm attending a little job fair and I was really excited for 2 of my years to look pretty similar because I've gone through so much change even in 2021. Like, when you talk about transformative years or so much happening in the years, I feel like your late teens and early 20s are the types of years it's like everything is different year to year. So I was very excited for being able to maintain the same job for that amount of time and relatively the same routine. I got licensed as an LMSW. You want to see first? What's it say? I passed. I'm a licensed social worker. So not only did this year hold where I got to add the MSW to my name, I got to add a little 4th letter onto there and get my LMSW, which was a goal that I had for myself. And so it was a goal that felt really good when it came true. On a YouTube front, I got monetized on YouTube. You see that? It says, Anna, you are now a YouTube partner. Every single video that I made before, I forget the exact day, I think it was like March 19th, maybe sometime around then. Every single video that I made before then was for fun. Like, it was just for hobby. There was nothing monetarily that came out of it. It was just true like passion, enjoyment, wanting to do it, and all of that has maintained. But also what is nice now is that there's a little extra cushioning around the pockets from YouTube. Not too much because, as you can see, like, small YouTuber, but it did serve as sort of validation, I feel like, that what I do here is real and it isn't just play, even though sometimes it can feel like play and it can be fun like that, but it is a real thing and really affects people and is worth pouring all of the hours that I pour into it. What's a little bit wild, and so I need to actually probably go back and look at the date so I can know this for sure, but I got the job offer for the current job that I have on the same day that I got monetized for YouTube. So I didn't like announce that necessarily at the same time. I kind of kept the job to myself until I was starting it, but I got the job offer and the monetization on YouTube on the same day, which is, like I said, felt like a lot of validation at that time. So those are some of the big moments, but January me would also be shocked at just some of the little day-to-day mundane things that occurred this year. I had a few goals that I had set for myself at the beginning of the year, but I really didn't have all that many. One, because I felt like I really enjoyed where I was at life at the beginning of last year. And so there wasn't anything big, huge, and daunting that I wanted to change, like habits-wise or anything like that. And that was coming off of a year where I had set so many goals and resolutions for 2020, and then obviously all of those got squashed. So starting the new year last year, or at the beginning of this year, I had just a few. 1, graduate MSW. January me would love to hear you graduated with your MSW. You did it. Get a social work job. You got a social work job post-grad. That was a goal, and you did it. Definitely like a love-hate relationship going on, but ultimately you are doing what you hoped to be doing after graduation. I also want to get licensed with my LMSW. You got your LMSW. You're licensed. You can maintain that now. You don't have to take the test again, at least for the master level one. You're also getting to write articles, consult about content, and help build a community of social workers online. So I feel like that's really cool and something that I wouldn't have thought of to even create as a goal at the beginning of last year. The fact that my social work presence can exist at my job, but then also expand to getting to know other people whose passions match mine, who have gone through similar programs and experiences and internships. Because I remember whenever I was applying to MSW, applying for my grad program, I would be searching and I would be digging on the internet, like MSW day in the life of a social work grad student. What does social work grad school look like? All of this stuff, and I could find maybe 2 people. There was Social Work Scrapbook, OG social work content creator. There used to be a YouTuber, she doesn't make videos anymore, but Ryan Elizabeth. She was a social worker. Maybe some of you guys remember her. Probably still is a social worker, I don't know. But she had some MSW videos. There was one girl who made a couple vlogs and she was in Columbia University's MSW program. But like that was it that I found. So I think it's been very cool to see that portion of the internet expand and also to get to be a part of it. And I feel like that really magnified this year. January me, you kept your tutoring job post-grad, but you did resign from that today. This is something I talked about in previous videos, so we don't have to go too deep into it, but I feel like I served a good time with that tutoring job, with that little side hustle that I've had, but I wanted to resign from it before it would reach a point where I felt just like so burnt out or like dreading doing it, anxious, because I haven't been teaching classes. The last class I taught was September 28th, and I had another one scheduled to start in February, and I didn't feel like I could do it, and so I wanted to be able to leave on a good note instead of failing out of class. And granted, like I could have put in the work to do it, but it felt like I did my time. I did it well. It was a great job to get me through grad school, but I'm also working on understanding that I can have free hours in my day, and that doesn't mean that I have to fill it with something that is going to help me financially. Like, it's okay if I just have 1 or 2 jobs. I don't necessarily need to have 3 and 4. And get monetized on YouTube. January me, you got monetized on YouTube. You had the goal to make $1,000 through social media. And I remember that you made that goal thinking like, this is manifestation. This is me shooting for the stars, thinking there was no way that that would actually happen. And January me, you exceeded that by 4 times. That's crazy. She wouldn't believe it, to be honest. I had a goal to have 3 brand deals, work with 3 brands in 2022. And you worked with Social Work Degrees twice. You worked with Ana Luisa twice. You worked with Merit Beauty. You worked with Javi Coffee. You worked with Daysmith Coffee. You worked with Magic Mind. You became an EF Ultimate Breaks ambassador. You became a a.bea.s ambassador. You've been in contact with several different brands throughout the year. So that's kind of fun. But I also think looking now, it's not at all, I'm trying to think how to word this. Working with brands doesn't feel like the cherry on top of the cake that I thought that it was going to be. Like whenever I was a very small YouTuber, I'd be like, oh my gosh, it would be so cool to receive packages and to work with brands and stuff like that. And not that I don't like that, because I do, but I think it's become much more of a secondary, or what's that word? Tertiary? The third one down, focus of the channel and of having a presence and content and everything. Like, it never occurs to me to just like spend a day reaching out to brands, because that's not the part that brings excitement. So obviously they'll reach a point where it's like, okay, in order to continue pouring hours into YouTube, it has to be a little bit more monetized, and that comes through brands, you know, but it's like the part that feels so fun and feels so passionate and that I want to pour myself into is like the creating of videos, much more so than the connections that can be made with companies, if that makes sense. So I think like when I made that 3 brand goal, it was like, wow, I wonder if I can do that. And now the wow comes from like receiving comments and connecting with people. Not that I didn't before, but I don't know. Does that make sense? It's like, I don't think that'll be a goal going into the future of like having a specific number that I want to work with. I don't think that's going to be a future goal. January me, you gained 2,000 subscribers this year. 2,000 people joined this channel, this community this year. That's so crazy. That's so crazy. You wanted to reach 1,000 followers on TikTok and you have 3,000 followers on TikTok. Now, I'm not gonna lie, you don't really devote that much energy into TikTok. Your TikTok could be a lot better. So those 3,000 followers aren't really getting the best of the best, but you do have 3,000 followers on TikTok. Your highest viewed YouTube video has just under 25,000 views, and it's still that ecological systems theory video. The second or third video ever posted on this channel that's really poor quality video production, but really good quality content. That is still your most viewed video, and it's at just under 25K. Your highest viewed TikTok video this year had 2.1 million views. That was wild when that happened. It happened like overnight. I opened TikTok and thought it was a glitch. But I mean, kind of cool. I want to travel one fun trip, and I remember when you made this goal that you were thinking, if it's just a weekend trip about 30 minutes away from Atlanta, that's okay. I just want to travel one fun trip, because it'd been so long since we were able to just travel. And January me, you went to Hungary, Serbia, Romania. You went home twice. You went to Larkin's wedding in Colorado, and you visited family in North Carolina, which was a very good weekend. So I'd say at least once you traveled for fun. January me had the goal to really focus on saving money. That goal kind of came from being stressed, from paying tuition, from uncertainty of how post-grad was going to look. And I'm not gonna lie to you, January me, we do not have a high salary, but even a low salary is a lot more than you were making any time before graduating. So you have savings. You started a Roth IRA this year. I feel proud of that. You paid for one international trip and you've almost paid off in advance a second. You started laser hair removal. You can make the monthly payments on that. You get your nails done. Don't look at that hand, it needs to be filled. You get your nails done regularly. Basically, what I'm trying to say is you're doing okay and you have room to spend money in the ways that you want to while still being smart. You're doing okay. I was just watching Allison Page's video that's pretty similar to this one earlier this morning, and she described her fitness mindset as finding a way to wiggle your body that makes you happy, even if the way you wiggle your body doesn't look like everybody else's ways that they like to wiggle their body. And I just thought that was such a fun way to say it. And I feel like with my fitness and activity goals this year, the main thing is just, have I been relatively consistent with wiggling my body in some kind of way, some amount of days? Yeah. So I feel like that's a success, getting my wiggles in. Overall, this year has definitely been one that I feel like I've grown up. I feel like I've adultified. It's kind of crazy being in December of this year when even like March of earlier this year, I had absolutely no idea what my life would look like at this point. So being here and living my life at this point, it's kind of like, so that's what went on. That's what happened. It was definitely a big one. And a lot of 2023, I have absolutely no idea what it's going to look like. But one thing I do know is that come the end of December in 2023, I will make another video that looks just like this one. And so 2023, Anna, these questions are for you. So these are also kind of like my 2023 goals, you know? 2023, Anna, what job do you have? Do you enjoy going in? Right now, we are kind of struggling with knowing what to do and knowing what I want to do and making a balanced choice or lack of choice of what's worth putting up with at a job and what's not, and what salary we want and what's not, and what's the end goal and how is it smart to get there with the job. We're kind of stressing about the career just a little bit, having some post-grad blues. So I am really curious what you're doing, but what I'm most wondering is, do you enjoy going in each day? Are you doing okay as far as the job goes? Are you still living in Atlanta? Because at this point, I have no idea if you will be or not. Right now, I know that my lease is up in June. Period. That's the end. I don't know what goes on after that. I'm super curious about your new apartment. Can you show me around a little bit? Do you still prioritize making YouTube videos? If not, I'm a little disappointed in you and I don't know what would have happened to make that occur. But right now, you have about 2.7 thousand subscribers. 2,700, just about, just under. How's the BookTube channel? We just started this month. Right now, it sits at 12 subscribers. Have you kept up with the BookTube channel? Did it fizzle, burn up, and dry out? How's it doing? How many books did you read in 2023? Not to brag too much, But in 2022, I read 79, and I still have a few more days in 2022 to keep that number going up. I had the goal of 52. I thought one book a week would be pretty good, and we're sitting at 79. And that's with 3 months this year that I read only one book each. I had no zero read months, but 3 months of the year, I think it was like March, April, and September, I only read one book that month. So I feel like 79 is really good considering the circumstances. What is something that you're most proud of this year? I'm really hoping that 2023 can be a year that I'm proud of, and I don't know what that means as far as the goals go. Like, I'm pretty open with what I'm going to be proud of, but I just hope that it's one that I can be proud of. Because 2022 was, so why break our streak? Were there struggles this year? I know realistically there are going to be struggles in 2023, but I'm just hoping that there's not. What were the struggles like? Did you make any like fitness accomplishments that you're proud of? I know we're kind of just like pretty stagnant, got our routine down, but anything different as far as fitness goes? Now this one, turn the little interrogation light right in your eye. What's your self-care and self-love doing right now? That's something that I just want to make sure maintains into the new year, is romanticizing life, living the life that I like to live, having days that are just fun, not being a little stress anxiety ball. I honestly think that I was a lot less of a little stress anxiety ball in 2022 than I have been maybe any year previous. I guess that's kind of maybe part of growing up. Weird. So I know we already talked about that. I don't know if you're in Atlanta or not, but have you been up and at 'em meeting people? Like, do you have maybe at least one new friend that you met in 2023? Curious about that. Also, what's Zach up to? Obviously, I can't end this video without just saying a huge thank you to anyone who is watching this video or who has ever watched any of the videos that I've put out on the internet, because it's become such a big part of my life, which is so wild. And even like the goals I mentioned that I accomplished regarding social media and social work community and booktube, like having 12 subscribers, any of those accomplishments wouldn't have happened if there weren't people who were receiving it and people who engaged with it and people who enjoyed it at least a little bit. So I just want to make sure I'm always showing like my utmost gratitude and thankfulness and love for the other side of the screen, because even though I am like currently sitting in my bedroom just talking to a camera, I know that in the future this video will be edited and processed and exported and uploaded, and then it will reach the eyes and ears and maybe a little bit of the hearts of some number of people in this world. And it's just so cool to me that we can have like a little moment connection like this. And so I feel so thankful, because so much of the growth that I have experienced just personally, like I'm not even talking professionally, financially, social media-y, just the personal growth that I've experienced both last year and this year, a lot of that has been attributed to pouring myself into a hobby that I really enjoy. And so obviously you played a role in that, whether big or small, you played a role in it, which I'm just so thankful for. In the spirit of growing up and being adult, I do need to go make dinner, and so I'm going to do that. I know people have mixed feelings about the end of the year and the start of the new year, so try to relieve some pressure from yourself. You know, your whole life does not need to change come January 1st, but try to take a moment between now and then, like you still have a few days until January 1st hits, to just appreciate where you're at right now and kind of think, like, if January you knew where you were at right now, like that's just such a wild concept. I'm proud of you with whatever has gone on in your year. I hope that there have been moments of joy and there have been moments of laughter and respite and recharging and feeling love and feeling community and feeling connected. I appreciate you. I'm so grateful for you. I'm so grateful for this year that we've had, and so excited for the one that is coming up. So all that being said, I will see you next time. In 2023, Anna, I'll see you in a year.